Did you know God can't use you publicly until you've gotten victory privately? In fact, I want to talk about the 5 morning habits of the most successful people and how their habits have actually led them to their dreams. Hey, I'm Terri Savelle, and you're watching Live Your Dreams. I pray that as you invest in yourself today, you're captivated and you're catapulted to live your dreams. You may have heard that phrase that people are rewarded in public for what they practiced in private. Let me repeat that. People are rewarded in public for what they practice in private. Well, I began studying this and observing the 5 habits of the most successful people in the world, and I want to talk to you about that today. Number 1 is they wake up early. Successful people wake up early, as far back as Benjamin Franklin, and probably before that. But he said he woke up at 4 o'clock every day thinking about what he wanted to accomplish. In fact, he would say every day, "What good shall I do this day?" It's a little too proper for me. But all the way back to him, Howard Schultz of Starbucks, the CEO of Starbucks, he said he gets up at 4:30 every morning, walks his 3 dogs, and works out. 4:30 in the morning. GE CEO Jeff Immelt said he gets up at 5:30 a.m. every day for a cardio workout and reading. Xerox CEO Ursula Burns says she gets up at 5:15 every day, has an hour of personal training and responding to emails. Fiat and Chrysler CEO Sergio Marchionne, same thing. He said he gets up at 3:30 a.m. General Motors CEO Dan Akerson said, "I rarely sleep past 4:30 or 5. Apple CEO Tim Cook, same thing, gets up at 4:30 a.m. He said, "By 5 o'clock, I'm at the gym." Disney CEO Bob Iger said he gets up at 4:30 a.m., he reads, he exercises, and he listens to audios. Hanes Celestial Group CEO Erwin Simon said, "I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning. I pray, I walk the dogs, and I work out." Well, oh yeah, and Terri Savelle, I'm up at 4:45 every day. Well, Entrepreneur Magazine did this research on the habits of the wealthiest people in the world versus the habits of poor people. Now, not to offend anybody by saying that word poor people, but they just wanted to observe, do successful people do certain things that perhaps have made them more successful than others? And they began to discover that they all had these certain traits and habits in common that were leading them to greater success. One of them was that they wake up 3 or more hours every day before they go to the office. They're up for 3 hours before they even go to the office. Well, do you know that just by waking up 1 hour early, every day, just 1 hour early, by the time you multiply that for 365 days in a year, that's 365 hours added to your life, or it equates to 15 extra days to be more productive. Think about that, 15 extra days added to your life just by getting up 1 hour early. Well, first you have to ask, why in the world did they get up so early? What's the point in getting up at 4:45 or 3:30 or 5 o'clock? Well, it's to invest in themselves. That's why they get up early, is to make an investment in themselves before they invest in everything and everybody else around them. Well, I like what Zig Ziglar said. He said, "I don't like calling this an alarm clock." He said, "That already sounds negative because an alarm kind of startles you. It kind of makes you nervous, an alarm." He said, "Replace that word alarm with opportunity clock." He said, "Immediately when the opportunity clock goes off, your mind is headed in a positive direction." Well, I want you to just think about, maybe you're not ready to wake up a whole hour early, but you could start with 20 minutes and say, "You know what? I'm going to make some changes in my life. I'm going to start investing in myself by getting up 20 minutes early." If you feel like you're ready for a whole hour, then go for it. Say, "I can do this. I'm worth an hour investment in my future, in my goals, in my dreams, and in my relationship with the Lord." So number 1 is the most successful people in the world, they wake up early. Number 2 is they meditate or pray. Now, this research was done among, all different types of people, different religions across the board, but they all found time for prayer, or some call it meditation. Even people like Ariana Huffington of the Huffington Post. She said she begins with 30 minutes of meditation. She said it calms her mind and helps her focus. Oprah Winfrey said she clears her mind with 20 minutes of meditation. She said, every time I walk away feeling better and full of hope. She also said it creates the best work and her best life from that habit of just spending time in prayer. Even the actor Will Arnett of Jurassic Park, he said, every single morning I wake up, spend time alone, and I write down 10 things I'm grateful for every single day. Steve Harvey, he said, I can't wait till I wake up in the morning. He said, when I wake up in the morning, I spend the first 10 minutes just thanking God. He said, I don't even address my problems or any stuff I've got. I'm just grateful for what I've already got. He said, it makes your day start in such a wonderful way. So Steve Harvey finds it important in his busy schedule every day to just wake up thanking and praising God for what he's already done in his life. Or, Miss Dodie Osteen. She, was healed of cancer years ago, terminal cancer. And she said she never leaves her house without declaring, I think, 40, 50 scriptures out of her mouth on healing. She said most people, don't leave their house without taking vitamins. I don't leave my house without declaring my healing scriptures. So every day she spends time with the Lord declaring his word. Well, Jesus got a way to pray. So I think we should find some time in our schedule to say, you know what, I can start with 5 minutes. I can go somewhere by myself for 5 minutes a day and just spend time with the Lord. I read recently where the average pastor spends 4 minutes a day in prayer. 4 minutes. Well, starting your day in prayer is what sets the tone for the whole day. And of course, we know this. It's just a matter of doing it, making it a priority. And the truth is, we can have devotionals, we can go to church, we can listen to messages, we can watch Christian TV. Don't turn it off yet. But nothing replaces time with God, that quality time with God, where we just listen for his voice. We don't do all the talking. We just sit there and we listen for that still small voice. And this is where you envision your future. This is where you allow God to speak to your spirit, to show you things that he wants to do in your life. My dad taught me this years ago. He said, when you go into your prayer time with the Lord, always take a journal and a pen, Texas size. But he said, well, Dad didn't tell me to take Texas size. But my point is, take a journal and take a pen and just listen for God. Listen for his voice. And of course, in your prayer time, this is where you clear your mind, you relax, you embrace your time with the Lord, and he's going to give you direction for your life. Bible says, my sheep know my voice. So God wants us to hear his voice. We just have to take the time to listen and to practice hearing the voice of God. Dad told me, whatever comes up in your spirit, write it down. That way you've always got it. You can refer back to it. And when you begin to doubt God's plan, you begin to doubt, the promises of God for your life, you can always go back to that journal and say, nope, it is written. I know the Lord spoke this to me. And of course, you think about it. Psalm 91 says, those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High God shall remain stable. That's a powerful scripture when you think about how unstable we can feel. That word stable, you think about it meaning not easily moved, not disturbed, consistent. So if you feel unstable in life, you feel like you're just stressed out, you're emotionally unstable, everything just feels out of control. Well, the Bible says those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High God shall remain stable. In fact, the Bible also says he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Well, my journal, just practicing this simple habit in my life, when I began to discover things like people like Oprah Winfrey, Steve Harvey, Will Arnett, people who are doing some big things, they still find it helpful to just get away, be alone with God, pray, journal their time with the Lord. If they can do that, how much more should I do that? And how much more should you do that? Just to listen for God and to receive instruction. Do you know that this can become a GPS for your life, where it gives you a map to say, okay, now I know what I'm supposed to do. I've been journaling my time with the Lord and I've got some direction. So the second habit of the most successful people in the world is they pray or meditate. Number 3, the third habit of the most successful people is they exercise. They find it important to exercise and eat a good breakfast. Well, I was reading people, who who practice these habits in their lives. People like Anna Wintour, she's the editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine. She said she starts each day at 5:45 in the morning with an hour-long tennis match. Every morning before she heads off to the office, she plays tennis. Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course he works out. It says every day at 5 o'clock in the morning, he works out, eats a healthy breakfast, and reads every morning. Pepsi CEO Steve Reinemann, he said, I'm up at 5 o'clock every day and I run for 4 miles. Starbucks president Michelle Gass, she said she wakes up each morning at 4:30 in the morning to go running, and she said, I've done this for the past 15 years. She believes her morning routine has helped boost her success. So, CEOs for Starbucks, Xerox, Twitter, Apple, they all said they work out first thing in the morning. Well, I started doing that in 2001. And I didn't start with an hour-long workout. I didn't start with going to the gym and lifting weights, things like that. I started just walking in my neighborhood for 20 minutes every day. And I said, I'm going to make myself do this for 21 days. Because they say if you do something consistently for 21 days, you can break an old habit and start a new one. So I said, every day I'm going to make myself walk for 20 minutes. Well, then that became 30 minutes. Well, then it became an hour. Well, then it became, I'm going to go to the gym and start doing some other things. And you know what? I haven't stopped. But I believe it's key to the stamina I have today, but also helping me establish discipline in other areas of my life. And of course, when they did research on the successful people, 76% of the wealthiest people in the world exercise 4 days a week. 23% of unsuccessful people do. In fact, most people who work out consistently, they work out in the morning because that's when you have control over your day. I tried working out in the evenings, and then it was like, you never know if you're going to have to work late, or you got to go to dinner with people, or you have an activity for your kid. The best time to be consistent is to do it in the morning and to do it at the same time every day. So it starts the day off in the right mode. It sets the tone for the day. And of course, successful people, they eat a good breakfast. It was not until just recently I discovered the word breakfast means break the fast. Break fast. Because you've been fasting for 7 or 8 hours that you were asleep. Now it's time to break the fast, have a good breakfast, and get on with your day. So these are just the first 3 habits of the most successful people in the world. When we come back, I'm going to share the last 2 habits that I believe can change your life.
God has a great plan and purpose for your life, and your ability to walk out that good plan will be determined by the habits you develop. That's why Terri is offering you her teachings, Mind Over Mattress and Discipline to Reach Your Goals. In Mind Over Mattress, Terri will show you how your morning routine can break you from an average life and catapult you into great success. And in the 4-part teaching, Discipline to Reach Your Goals, Terri takes you through her journey of going from just existing year after year to being an expert goal achiever. Together, this must-have bundle of resources will give you the tools you need to make the most of every day and see real progress. Don't go another day feeling stuck or held back. There's an extraordinary life waiting for you. Call or go online to request your copy of Mind Over Mattress, along with Discipline to Reach Your Goals. Call toll-free 800-795-5597 or visit us online at terri.com. Discover simple ways to live the life of your dreams.
We're talking about the habits of the most successful people in the world. Remember, people are rewarded in public for what they practice in private. I believe when we get control of our daily routine, we develop discipline in our lives. I believe the secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. Change your routine, you can change your whole life. So the first 3 habits we covered, number 1 is the most successful people in the world, they wake up early. They wake up early to invest in themselves. Number 2 is that they meditate or pray. They spend time in prayer every single day. Number 3 was they exercise and eat a good breakfast. Those are just the first 3 habits that successful people practice day in and day out. Number 4 was they invest in personal growth. They invest in personal growth. When Entrepreneur Magazine did this research on successful people versus unsuccessful people, they discovered, they were asking, how many people read books for 30 minutes or more every day. They discovered 88% of the wealthiest people in the world read every day. 2% of poor people read every day. Think about those numbers. 88% of the wealthy, 2% of the poor. 70%, they said, read career-related material. 55% read for personal development. 58% read biographies of successful people. And this is what they said. Only 11% read purely for entertainment purposes. Only 11%. Bottom line, they read to improve. They read to invest in themselves. You know, I love the story about W. Clement Stone, who was a billionaire. W. Clement Stone asked Jack Canfield. He said, Jack, how many hours of TV do you watch every day? Jack said, I don't know, probably 3 hours. He said, I watch, The Tonight Show. I watch Good Morning America. I watch the news. He said, probably about 3 hours. W. Clement Stone said, I want you to cut out 1 hour a day. He said, what do you want me to do? Stone said, I want that time. He said, I want you to invest 1 hour a day to read. He said, what do you want me to read? He said, I want you to read in the area that's going to cause growth in your life. He said, read psychology, read financial books, read success books, read money books, read everything you can that's going to cause you to grow. He said, if you take 1 hour a day times 365 days in a year, that's 365 hours added to your life to invest in yourself. Then he said this, divide those 365 hours by a 40-hour work week, you just received 9.5 weeks of additional time. That's a lot of time to invest in yourself. Well, Jack Canfield began doing that every day, just a simple dose every day of reading books. Well, years later, God gave Jack an idea to write a little book called Chicken Soup for the Soul. And of course, he's in the Guinness Book of World Records today. Well, that was just every day making it a priority to invest in personal growth. Now, some shocking statistics I read said that 1/3 of high school graduates never read another book for the rest of their lives. 1/3 of high school graduates. 42% of college graduates never read another book after college. Isn't that amazing? 80% of U.S. families did not buy or read a book the entire last year. And the thing is, I used to be in those numbers. I was in the 42% of college grads who never read another book after college. Until finally I got fed up with my life not changing. I got fed up with being in a rut, being stuck in one place, repeating the same year after year. And finally I said, you know what, Terry, you can do this. You can make yourself read for 20 minutes a day. Well, John F. Kennedy even said he insisted every member on his team take a speed reading course because he wanted everyone to continually expand their mind and their knowledge. Well, too many people see learning as just this period of life instead of a way of life. And I don't know about you, but I remember hearing somebody say, you may have heard this quote, that when you stop growing, you start dying. So what am I saying? I don't want you to die. So just start reading a little bit every day. So the fourth habit was that they invest in themselves. They invest in personal growth through reading and listening to audio teaching. Number 5, the fifth habit of the most successful people in the world was they practice the pay now, play later principle. Pay now, play later. Now, before I explain that, first, let me just recommend that you plan each day the night before. You know, I never go to bed without planning the next day. In fact, when my daughter Cassidy was little, every night I would tuck her in bed, I'd sing to her, I'd pray with her, I'd tell her the plan, and then I'd go to bed. Well, one night, we did our little routine, and I went in my room, and I heard her yelling. I could hear it on the little monitor, Mama! Mama! I thought, oh my gosh, what's going on? Does she have a bad dream already? I ran in there, and she goes, you didn't tell me the plan. I was like, oh dear God, we gotta be a little more spontaneous around here. But she was so used to me telling her, okay, tomorrow this is what we're gonna do, here's what we're gonna do. She got used to having that plan. Well, the most successful people in the world plan their day the night before. In other words, set yourself up for success through just a little bit of advanced decision making. Now what I mean by that is just, if you are going to make a plan, a new routine that you want to start working out. And you say, I'm going to start exercising 20 minutes a day. I'm going to go for a walk in my neighborhood. Well, set yourself up for success by planning the night before. In other words, get your workout clothes out, get your tennis shoes out, get everything ready the night before. Or if you're going to set a goal to start eating healthier, you could plan your lunch the night before. Go ahead and get it ready, get it made, put it in the refrigerator. There's no excuses. Because the thing is, the devil wants you to stay in a rut. He wants you to stay where you are. He doesn't want you to advance and make significant progress in your life. Well, plan your day the night before. Set yourself up for success. So what do I mean by the pay now, play later? That just simply means that you tackle your priorities first. You know, that's why I like to spend time in prayer first thing in the morning. That's why I like to go to the gym first thing in the morning, is to get it done, because those are some of the most important things to me. So get it done first thing in the morning so nobody and no thing can steal your time. You know, some people call it make your day top heavy. In other words, get your most important task done first. Now, I heard this phrase, I'm not sure it makes a lot of sense to me, but Mark Twain said this. He said, eat a live frog first thing in the morning and nothing worse will happen the rest of the day. I have no idea what that means, but Fast Company took that phrase, they rephrased it to say this. Do your biggest task first, and when you start with your biggest task, the rest of the day looks pretty good. Well, Brian Tracy then wrote a best-selling book called Eat That Frog. In other words, get your hard stuff done over with. Get your most important things done first so that Satan can't steal that time away from you. And the thing is, you're going to feel more alert, you're going to feel more productive the rest of the day by tackling the most important things first. Well, you may have heard this story. It was years ago, Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, he hired a man to come into his corporation and teach them how to increase productivity around the office, around the company. Well, the man came out there, he just kind of observed everything, sized everything up, and then they said that he took a sheet of paper, he wrote a few things down, folded it up, handed it to Mr. Carnegie, and then he said to him, read this and pay me whatever you think my idea is worth. Well, Mr. Carnegie opened it up, and this is what it said. Every day, make a list of your top 5 priorities that you need to work on. Start your day at the top of the list. Don't move down the list until you've completed the most important task. He said, don't do anything else until it's done. Well, 2 weeks later, Mr. Carnegie sent that man a check for $10,000, all because of this little idea. So what I just shared with you is worth $10,000. You can make checks payable. Terry's Savelle Ministries. I'm just kidding. But Mary Kay Ash, same thing. She said she attributed her success to the fact that every single day she would make a list. For her, she said it was her top 6 things. If she didn't finish all of them, she would carry it over to the next day. But the point is, she stayed focused on the most important thing for the day. So, be realistic about your to-do list. Start with 5 and just don't move on until you finish the first one. Well, when you think about it, why is this so important? Why is it important that we, tackle our priorities and stay focused? Well, the reason why, I think I can compare it to this, is I heard someone talk about when a lion tamer goes into a cage with a crazy lion. They always carry a pistol on one side and a whip on the other, but invariably they carry that 4-legged stool. And I've heard where lion tamers will say the most important thing that they take into that cage with the crazy lion is the 4-legged stool. And if you'll notice, they always carry the stool, with the legs, the 4 legs facing that animal. Well, here's why. They said that lion tries to focus on all 4 legs at the same time. And in an effort to focus on 4 legs at the same time, they said a certain paralysis overwhelms him, and the lion becomes tame, weak, and disabled. And here's why. Because his attention is fragmented. It's all over the place. Well, you think about your enemy, Satan. He would love for you to become fragmented because your attention is all over the place. You don't even know what you're trying to accomplish, and you become tame, weak, and disabled for the plan of God for your life. So that's why it's so important that we get focused and we develop success habits that are going to lead us to our dreams. Well, there's a price to pay to be successful, isn't it? To become extraordinary. In fact, somebody once said, if you want to go from ordinary to extraordinary, it's summed up in that one little word, extra. You got to do a little extra more than the average person. And here's the thing, Preparation time is never wasted time. Every time you invest in your new routine, your new habits, your new disciplines, it's always getting you closer to where God wants you to be. Well, I want you to get the resources we're offering this week. This is a series that we sold out. First time we offered this through our letter, people all over the world were ordering this message called Mind Over Mattress. And it really is the success habits that I've applied in my life that I learned from the most successful people in the world. Mind Over Mattress. And then we have Discipline to Reach Your Goals. Now this is a 4-part teaching, and in here I've actually got a syllabus with some of my notes in here where you can start taking notes, listen to it, fill in the blanks, and I believe it's going to help you to, how to have a time map, how to get, effective time management applied in your life. Instead of stressing out over everything, how am I supposed to start another habit, Terri? Are you kidding me? Well, I'm going to teach you how to do that with a 21-day goal. There's even a teaching in here on how to discover your energy cycles. You may have tried to become a person of discipline with exercise in the past, but maybe you were doing it at the wrong time for you, for your body, for your energy cycles. I know some people who love to work out at night. Me, my eyes are rolling in my head at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. But I love getting up at 4:30, 4:45 and going to the gym. So you have to discover when are you the most energetic, and that's when you're going to tackle these big goals and these big habits in your life. There's 3 requirements to effective goal setting, how to get in control. I believe God's speaking to you today that it's time to conquer procrastination. It's time to go to the next level. And maybe you've even said in the past, I'm just not a person of discipline. Well, first of all, stop saying those words. Start declaring, I am disciplined, spirit, soul, and body. And I want to encourage you to make an investment in this new mindset of discipline, this new habit, this new routine that you want to apply in your life. Get these teachings, Mind Over Mattress, and Discipline to Reach Your Goals. And I'm believing next year at this time, you're going to look back and say, I am not the same person I used to be. Well, let me remind you today, don't look at the years you've lost. Don't look at all the mistakes, the opportunities you've missed. Stop looking at everything back there. Let's look at the years you've got left and start living your dreams. Be sure and order these resources. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I want to keep you motivated to achieve your dreams. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.
God has a great plan and purpose for your life, and your ability to walk out that good plan will be determined by the habits you develop. That's why Terri is offering you her teachings, Mind Over Mattress and Discipline to Reach Your Goals. In Mind Over Mattress, Terri will show you how your morning routine can break you from an average life and catapult you into great success. And in the 4-part teaching, Discipline to Reach Your Goals, Terri takes you through her journey of going from just existing year after year to being an expert goal achiever. Together, this must-have bundle of resources will give you the tools you need to make the most of every day and see real progress. Don't go another day feeling stuck or held back. There's an extraordinary life waiting for you. Call or go online to request your copy of Mind Over Mattress, along with Discipline to Reach Your Goals. Call toll-free 800-795-5597 or visit us online at terri.com. Discover simple ways to live the life of your dreams.